Hey everybody, it's Charles from HumbleMechanic.com, and today we're going to talk about how good technicians become hacks. So this is a show that, to be honest, I don't really want to do. I don't like talking about it. Part of it is because, well, I have sort of this delusional vision that there are no hack technicians out there, and that everyone that fixes cars for a living really cares about their customers and about their customers' cars. Well, like I mentioned, that is my delusional world because I know that is not true at all. I'm fortunate to work in a very great environment with a bunch of incredible people that generally do really care about their customers' cars. There's so much out there going on every day, people looking to take advantage of customers. The industry has earned its reputation. So I think it's important to talk about. I think it's also worth mentioning that I am not saying this is okay. I'm not making excuses for hack technicians. I'm not saying that just because they've had some of these bad things that we're going to talk about happen to them, that I'm fine with it, because I'm not. In fact, quite the opposite. It makes me pretty upset that we even have to talk about this. But there are some things about the industry that really breed technicians or mechanics or whatever to become this way. And I think if we talk about them and put them out there, we can start to evaluate and look at what we can do to prevent ourselves from becoming that, and really look out for the people that are around us and try and help them avoid that situation as well. Now, there's varying degrees of hack. And what I mean by hack is someone that's basically cheating the system, looking to take advantage of customers, selling jobs and not doing them, selling, a big job and only doing a small part of it, selling a gasket replacement. Instead of replacing the gasket, they just spray it off with brake clean and let the customer go. The customer thinking that their car's fixed, but when in actuality, it is not. So let's look at a few things that can lead to technicians becoming this way. The first one is training. This doesn't mean send me to school, boss, so that I can learn how to fix Volkswagens or Audis or Fords or whatever. It's way deeper than that, right? This is maybe bad mentoring. Perhaps they have a mentor that is at the tail end of his career, or maybe they're a hack themselves, or maybe they don't want to truly be the mentor that this up-and-coming technician needs. The technician learns bad habits early on and never gets out of that bad habit. Cut the bracket off instead of take 2 more bolts out and move the bracket out of the way. There's cases that we can make for that being a better repair, but let's shelve that for now. The better way would in general be to keep the car as close to factory as absolutely possible. There's so much information out there today. 2016, there's just a mind-boggling amount of information out there, whether it's from someone like me or someone else on YouTube or blogs or whatever forums. There's all out there, and it's important to understand, while there's a lot of people doing incredible stuff, putting out rock solid information, life-changing information or career-changing information, there's also a lot of internet hacks out there too that are telling people the wrong information because they're ignorant to what the right information is. So there's a lot of information out there. Maybe a technician just picks up the wrong tip as truth and then goes that route in their career. It's easy for someone to say, all you have to do is cut this bracket and you can slap this part on and it'll save you 15 hours of a job. Well, maybe that's the viable thing, and maybe that's something you would do on your own car. But I feel like as a technician, as a professional technician, we have to hold our customers' cars to a higher standard. Now, I love my cars, right? I take very good care of my cars. But I can decide on my car whether I want to cut that bracket or whether I want to take that pipe off. That's my car, so it's my decision to make. When you cut that bracket, instead of taking the pipe out of the way, you eliminate the customer from making that decision on their own car. That bracket's probably there for a reason. When you take that away from the customer, you are altering their car in a way that, it might be fine. You may never have a problem with it, but it may not be okay, because perhaps that bracket prevents that pipe from rattling loose and maybe a hose coming off, something like that. So, fill in your own story about how deep down the rabbit hole a bad repair can really go. And a lot of it really does stem early in a technician's career from not having the right training, whether it's hands-on, tech school, or up here, whether someone is teaching them, here's how you need to think about fixing your customer's car, because it can be very different from a DIY repair. You know, as a test on a radio, say, I may strip 2 wires and just twist them together and see if it works. I would never leave it that way, and I absolutely wouldn't leave it that way on a customer's car. But boy, have I seen some technicians do some hack stuff and just take those wires and twist them up. Or, you know, the one that really gets me, the one that just drives me nuts, is when they use household wiring terminals to twist together wires in a car. That's not what they're for. While it may work in a pinch, you know, if that's what you got to do to get home, rock and roll. But that is not a proper repair performed by a professional automotive technician. But it's not just bad training that leads into bad habits, which leads into hack technicians. The system is not perfect. The flat rate system can easily push people into becoming that hack technician. If you don't know how flat rate works, I will link up a video for you to check out. I go way deeper into it than I'm going to do it on today's video. It's basically, we get paid for a job regardless of how long it takes. So if it takes us longer, technician loses. If we get it done faster, technician wins. The drive to make money is great. Money making is a great motivator. There's nothing wrong with it, all up until the point where you take shortcuts that reduce the integrity of a customer's vehicle. Again, it's that same bracket example. One guy figured out, hey, if I just cut this bracket, I can get this job done in half the time. And then that spreads and spreads and spreads. Pretty soon, everyone's doing it that way. So this flat rate system, this pay system, puts pressure on technicians to get jobs done as fast as they can. This is where a good mentor would come in and say, hey, you know what? It may take you a little longer to do it the right way, but it's going to take you even longer to do it twice. And that's so important. It's such a, you know, to me it seems so simple, but I think that's a mentality that a lot of techs get out of, because it's like, I just got to make an hour. I just got to make the next hour. Just got to make the next hour. And they go and go and go and end up taking something that would have been an okay deal, you know, an okay job to do, making a bunch of money on it, but they end up hacking a customer's car, maybe even creating other issues. And you know, once that starts, it's incredibly challenging. It's really hard to, first of all, admit it. Look, I'm doing something to this customer's car that I shouldn't be doing. And second of all, it's even harder to break because you found a cheat, right? It's like when you played video games as a kid and you entered the cheat code, and it was super fun to play it with the cheat code. It was really hard to go back to not playing with the cheat code. You didn't want to, because it was so much easier or so much more fun, or a different game with the code versus without the code. I was notorious on one of the Grand Theft Autos where you could make like the helicopter and the airplane drop down. It was super fun, right? But I waited till after I beat the game to do that kind of stuff. It's the same kind of thing. It's just, now it's serious, because now you have someone else's 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 car that you're making decisions on, assuming that they're okay with. And like I said, once you start down that path, once you find one repair, it's very hard to go back to, you know, the right way after you found a shortcut that may be damaging the customer's car in a way that you're not sure about. One other thing on the flat rate, some of these jobs, the labor times that they come up with are just absolutely ridiculous on both ends. Some are so high that you think to yourself, you know what, I'm going to cut this time down because there's no way it's fair to charge this full amount to a customer. Plus, as a reasonable person, you think no customer is going to pay this much for it anyway. Then you have the other side where a job pays, you know, an hour worth of your time. So if you make 20 bucks an hour, you get 20 bucks. But there's no way to do it the right way, or the repair manual way is probably a better way to say it, in an hour and get all the other stuff done you got to get done to make that a 100% perfect repair. So it's not just that flat rate itself is a problem. There are other factors like labor times and things like that that really do play into it as well. There are also flat out bad shops. There are bad places to work. Just like any industry, there's bad places to work. These are the kind of places that have given the automotive industry the reputation that it's earned, right? I mentioned that the auto industry earned its reputation. Mechanics have earned their reputation throughout time of being a mechanic. They've earned that I'm going to hit the customer for every dollar I can get out of them the first time they come in the door, because I might never see them again. And that, while maybe not a hack mechanic, is definitely walking down that path. It's owners or managers pushing, you got to sell everything. You got to sell everything. tell the customer their family's going to die in a fiery crash if they don't let you replace their wiper blades, or they don't fix their reverse light out, or something like that. All those extreme stories, all those bad mechanic stories that you have heard are, for the most part, legit, or a form of it is legit. And a lot of that stems from the top down. It's the GM putting pressure on the service manager, who's putting pressure on the advisors, who's putting pressure on the technicians, all to produce more, give me more, sell more work, make more hours. As a tech, of course I want to make more hours, right? That's how I get paid. But it's that downward pressure from management, do more. It's the pressure from flat rate, do more. It's the pressure from the labor times being weird and customers screaming. And pretty soon it's, you know what? I'm going to hack that bracket. I'm going to slap this job together. I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to move on to the next one. And unfortunately, all of that negativity just stacks and stacks and stacks until you end up as a hack tech that now can't do these jobs correctly. Now can't get out from under that, well, if I don't cut that bracket, I'm never going to make my time. Like I said, it's really hard to get out of that, but boy, is it easy to get into it. And from my standpoint, it really makes me mad, because I know that there's a ton of you out there that are like me, that care about your job. You care about your customers. You want to do the right thing. And you have this other group of technicians or mechanics or hacks or whatever you want to call them that are making your job even harder. Now your customer is even more critical about what's going on with their car, and they don't trust you. So you have to not only work really hard to earn their trust, you have to work really hard to keep it, and really hard to make sure you do a great job on whatever they're bringing their car to you for. Especially when it's, I was just at a hack place and now I'm coming to you to unhack. What's wrong with my car? Unfortunately, from the customer standpoint, now they're paying to unhack, dehack, and then get your car fixed properly. So they're essentially paying for that 3 times instead of just 1. So that's why, guys, if you are a customer and you find a good tech, never let them go. Take good care of them. Bring them cookies when you go see them. Make sure that they know that you're their guy or you're their girl, and you're the one that's taking care of their car. And you know, finally, as much as I really don't want to believe this one, there's just people that don't care. People that couldn't care 1% less about doing a good job, about a customer's car, about the fact that that customer puts their kids in the car. They just don't care. They're there just to make as many hours as they possibly can and go home and do a bunch of drugs or whatever. You know, I shouldn't say do a bunch of drugs. I don't know. Whatever they're going to do. They really don't care. Thankfully, I think it's a really low percentage. I think that's in the 5 to 10%. And that's probably in an environment that maybe didn't start out that way, or maybe they did and they were always, you know, just a scumbag. But it probably was bad training, probably in a bad shop, probably not making enough money. All those negative things pile and pile and pile, and it makes it. I feel for them, because I understand how easy it is to get in that mindset. Not so much the not caring mindset, but if you work in a bad shop, boy, that can really bring you down quick, and it can eventually get you to the point of not caring. So how do we avoid it? Well, we avoid getting hooked and snagged into all that crap we just talked about. We understand that that customer, whether they're the most amazing customer in the world or the biggest prick customer we've ever met, they're spending their hard-earned money with you, and you got to do right by them. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's amazing. You know, one thing I didn't mention is warranty work, which can be challenging too. That kind of, I sort of lump that in with the flat rate and labor time thing. So warranty work can be challenging too if you're at a dealership. Volume into the building can be a problem too. But we have to remain positive, and we have to know that while we have some bad customers, we probably have more customers that are really good customers, and not people that are just looking to, you know, get something for free or really hate technicians and whatnot. So it's a tough thing. You just have to stay out of the negative realm. You know, the standing out back smoking and bitching is kind of the one that influenced me a little bit early in my career. Luckily, I was able to see how stupid that was for me to begin down that path, and I was able to overcome it. But guys, it's challenging. It's really hard. So, you know, again, this is zero excuse for technicians to be hacks. This is zero excuse, zero justification for it. This is just some of the things that flat out happen. And I hope that now that you can see it and evaluate it, you can really do a lot to stay out of it. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Here is my question for you. What else do you think breeds hack technicians, hack mechanics, whatever you wanna call them? I'm not putting me in that category because I don't consider myself a hack. So post that down in the comments section. Hey, if you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. You can also subscribe on YouTube or on the blog at humblemechanic.com. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course on Snapchat. All right, guys, hey, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.